questions.
Thank you. And I'll turn to the chair of the full committee, Senator Collins from Maine.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Secretary, let me first welcome you to the committee. I know that you care deeply about our students. We may have different views on how to best achieve the goals that we share, but I do not question for a moment your deep commitment to education and our nation's students. I've been very concerned that we've seen a drop in performance by our students that occurred since the COVID unwise closures and prolonged closures of schools and continued in the Biden administration, and that's something that should concern us all. I'd like to turn to the TRIO programs. Like Upward Bound, that's an issue that you and I have discussed. From my experience in Maine, I have seen the lives of countless first-generation and low-income students, not only in Maine, but across the country, who often face barriers to accessing a college education changed by the TRIO program. I'm actually wearing my Maine TRIO pin today just to emphasize my support for that program. In fact, 3 of my own staff members went through the TRIO program and tell me that they would not have pursued higher education but for the support and confidence that the TRIO program gave them. The president's budget, unfortunately, in my view, proposes to eliminate the TRIO programs. And as co-chair of the Congressional TRIO Caucus, I strongly disagree with the president's proposal. Could you explain why the administration has decided that TRIO programs are not worth the investment that they make in people's lives and the robust bipartisan support that they enjoy due to their success?
Want me to answer now?
Please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I know that these programs are very near and dear to your heart. We have had at least 2 pretty lengthy conversations about them. And TRIO will be funded through the end of this year. So all those funds will go out. But it is not proposed to continue in the 2026 budget. What we found is the programs, while I absolutely agree that there is some effectiveness of the programs in many circumstances, these programs were negotiated at very tough terms, in that the Department of Education has no ability to go in and look at the accountability of TRIO programs. It specifically eliminates our ability to do that. And I just think that we aren't able to see the effectiveness across the board that we would normally look to see with our federal spending. So while there are, I think, many instances, and I believe also that Chairman Capito even worked in TRIO for a while in her earlier years, I do think there is effectiveness of many programs that I'm just not sure the total expenditure warrants. I do know, however, that Congress does control the purse strings, and I would sincerely hope that if you decide with appropriations to continue these programs, that we could work with you to renegotiate those terms that we feel kind of hamstrung the Department of Education and not being able to fully understand their accountability. That's a real drawback in these programs, and I think all of us would agree we want to make sure that anything that we are funding, we can attach accountabilities to it.
Well, as with the Job Corps program in the Department of Labor, I think the answer is to reform and strengthen those programs, fix what's wrong, increase accountability, not abolish them. And I look forward to working with you in that regard. I want to move to another issue, and that is a bill that Senator Kane and I've introduced called the Jobs Act. What it does is allow students to access federal Pell Grants to pay for shorter-term job training programs. A lot of times you can get a license in a trade to become an electrician or welder, for example, or a certified nursing assistant without going through a 2-year community college program. That may be the best option for some people. It isn't for others. Would you support the concept of allowing Pell Grants to be used for short-term training programs that result in a license or a certification for a job?
Well, you're really speaking my language, Senator, and thank you very much for that. I wholeheartedly support these workforce Pell Grant options because I've seen in many instances, I mean, we have 8 million open jobs in our country. Our workforce is definitely not being fulfilled by, by the proper workers. So let's get these young people who don't need a 4-year college education into the workforce sooner. I'm in agreement that even when they're in high school, we should start these programs, in high school, leading into apprenticeship programs. But the workforce Pell programs, the short term you're talking about, I also think they can be stacked in credentials so that you can really propel yourself into be a stronger economic contributor. So I'm all for those.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Baldwin.
Thank you, Madam Chair.